Hello guys. So today we are going to make this type of animated navigation websites. So if you see that, so there is a navigation bar and that we have four links: home, about, contact and works, and there is a cross button. So if I click on this cross button, so this will show like this. So this will hide all the links in some animated manner. Okay, now if I click again, so it will show all these links in some animated fashion. Okay, so this is what we are going to build this today. So this is like animated navigation, and you can use this type of functionality in your websites. So yeah, so on click of cross it will hide all the links in some animated fashion, and if I click again, so this will increase the size of this nav link and will show the all the links. Okay, so this is what we are going to build this today. Okay, so now if I make this here, okay, and this is what we are going to build it today here. So if you see the we have three files: home.html, script.js and style.css. So in home.html nothing is there, just a template of html. So that's what I have just written, and I've just given the title animated navigation, and I've just connected the style.css and script.js with this html. And in style.js there is a Google font which I have imported, and there is a one JS file. Okay, so we are going to build this animated navigation right from the scratch. So we will start right after this body. Let's create a one nav bar. So let's make a nav tag, and let's give the class. So let's give this active class. So what I will do now, so this will show like active. If this link is showing, this is like active, and if I click on cross button, this will like this nav link is not active. So this basically class, this active class is basically used to show the links of the nav bar. Okay, so this will come dynamically on click of this button. So if I click on this button, so this so if I click on this uh, so if I click on this button, so this will show the link. It means we have added the class active in the nav tag. Okay, so based on that we will show uh, based on that we will add a one event listener on that button, and it will add that active class dynamically. Okay, so let's give the id for this. So let's give the id nav, and now let's create a UL because we have to show the links inside the nav, and that inside the list, inside the UL we have to show a list. So let's create an anchor tag. Let's give any h, and let's give any name you can give. Let's give a home. Similarly we can create four more. Okay, and we can give any name like home, about, contact, works. Okay, so this is what we have done. So we have four links inside an app. Okay, now we need two buttons, right? So like after this UL, but it will be inside this nav bar, we need the two buttons, and that button will be so that so inside the button I will create the two div. So let's give the class name line, and then line 1. Line 1 and line 2 is just to separate the two buttons. Okay, so this will just separate the line 1 line 2 because we have two lines. If you see that it just that here we have two lines. Okay, and these two lines we have shown it as a cross sign. Okay, so basically we have these two lines only, so that's why we have created two divs for that inside this button. Okay, let's give some id of this button. Okay, so let's give the id toggle and let's give some class. So let's give any class like icon. Okay, so just save that. So yeah, we have navbar, we have ul, that is list, and we have these two lines in the button tag. Okay, so if you see that this button is not showing as of now, this is not a button, this is just like a div, right? So we will make this we will give this some width and height for this width, okay, in the css. So this is all we need in the html. So it just that we need only navbar, then we need list, and then we need two lines. Okay, now we will move to style.css, where we'll style all this navbar and we'll create that button. Okay, now like here I imported the google fonts, so I will use the google fonts. So let's give some template for css. So let's give box sizing border box. Okay, and let's apply the css over the body. So let's give some background color. Okay, so let's give some background color of hatch EAFB FF. Okay, so I think this looks well. So let's just save that. Yeah, it's a light sky, and let's give some background image. So it's not actual image, we will create a linear gradient. So that what I will do, I will create a, from this half position I will give different color. For that I'm using a linear gradient. Okay, so let's give, so we have to go bottom, so let's give some bottom, and from where we want, so we want to give this EAF, okay, BFF. So I want to give same color from 0 to 50%, right? So here if you see the actual project, we have this light sky color from 0 to 50%, and from this 50% to 100% we have actual sky, right? So that's what we are giving. So EAF BFF from 0 to 50%. Okay, so let's EAF BFF 0 to 50%. Okay, now from here we want to give some sky color. So let's give the sky color, so 5290 F9, and from 50% to 100%, right? So save it. So it's coming differently, so we will make that clear. Okay, so if you see that we have the background image, this is not coming in a correct way. So we have given two bottom and we have given two colors from 0% to 50% and from 50% to 100%. Okay, now let's give some other css. So let's give the font family which we have imported. So we have imported a muley. Okay, and let's give some sans serif. Okay, now we can give some margin 0. Now we can give display flex. We can give justify content center, so that we can show everything in the center, because if we see in the actual project that nav bar is in the middle, so that's why we have given this. Okay, now if you see that it is coming fine. Okay, so from 0 to 50% it is showing light sky, and from 50 to 100% it is showing actual sky. Okay, and we have given the font family, and we just want to show this navbar in the middle. Okay, so that's why I've given the body that display flex and align atom center and justify content center. Okay, now let's apply the css over this navbar. Okay, so let's make this navbar of display flex. Okay, and then align item center, and then make this justify content center. Okay, now it is coming in the center. Let's give some background color to white, and let's give some padding. Let's give 20 pixel, and let's mix a box shadow. So let's give a box shadow of 0 2 pixel, and let's give 5 pixel y offset, and then give some RGBA color. Okay, so let's give a background color of uh, black. So this is not coming correctly. So why this is coming like that? Okay, we have to give some height and width also, right? So let's give some border radius to 3 pixel. Okay, so let's give some width of 80 pixel. Okay, do I forget to give the height? Sorry. And let's give some transition because I want to apply some transitions, so that's why I'm giving the transition over the width, because I have to manipulate the width, right? So let's give some transition, linear transition over the width, and let's make this overflow X to be hidden. So let's see why it is coming like that, this height 100 VH. So this should not come like that. So we have given the body and the font family margin 0. We have display flex, justify content center, height VH. Yes, it is correct only. Then we have given display flex, align item center, justify content center. Given the background color, we have given the padding. So let's refresh that. Why it is coming like that? Yeah, so let's see the problem why it is coming like that. So if you see that here, we forgot to give the align item center because we want to make this here center. Now it is coming fine. Okay, so I think that's enough CSS for nav. Now let's apply some CSS if there is an active class. So this width, so in the start we don't want to show this link, right? So this width should be small at the start. So if we have active class, based on this active class, so if you see that in the home.html we have active class, this active class should only be there if we want to show the links. If we don't want to show the link, this active class will not be there. So if it is active, we have to give more width, right, to this nav bar. If it is not active, we have to shorten the width, right? So that's what I am checking. If there is an active class on the nav bar, what I have to do, I have to give more width, right? So as of now I have given only 80 pixel. Now because we don't want to show the whole width, we don't want to show the links at the start, we only want to show the links if there is an active class on the navbar. So if there is active class, we want to give more width because we want to show the links, right? So let's give the 3 pixel width, right? So as of now I have given the active class in the navbar, that is why it is showing the width 350 pixel. If I remove the active class, it will show only 80 pixel, right? So that's what. So if there is active class, we want to increase the size of the navbar and want to show the links, right? And this transition I have applied based on the width, meaning if we increase the width or decrease the width, it should have some transition over it, right? It should not flicker over it. It should have transition. That's why I've given the transition over the width of 0.6 second in a linear fashion. Okay. Now let's apply some CSS over the UL inside the navbar. So let's give some display flex. Okay, let's make this list style type none, because we don't want to show any bullet point here, right? We have removed the bullet point. We don't want to show any padding. Okay, we don't want to show any margin, and we don't want to give any width to this UL, right? Now again I want to apply some transition over this UL also, because if you see, if I click on cross button, and now I will now we just focus on the links, right? So if you see that this link is coming in some transition mode, so I want to apply some transition over the links also as well as width. So I have already given the transition over the width. Now I have to give the transition over this. I have to give some transition over this link, right? So inside the UL, so let's make the transition over the width of this UL in a linear fashion. Okay, now I've given the padding 0, margin 0, width 0. Okay, now if there is an active class, if there is active class, what I want, how I want to show the UL. So if there is an active class, now I want to give some width to this UL, right? So let's give 100%. Now if you see, this is coming correctly. So if, because why? Because active class is there in the navbar. So we have to apply the CSS based on the active and non-active. If it is not active, we want to shrink the width and we don't want to show the links. That's why we are applying the CSS separately. Okay. Now I want to apply the CSS onto the LI. So let's give some transform. So now I want to rotate, right? So if there is no active class onto the nav bar, we don't want any rotation, right? So if you see that in the actual project, we are rotating the links, right? If you see, we are rotating the links as soon as we click. So as soon as we remove the active class, we are removing the links, as well as we are not rotating anything, right? Now we don't want to show anything, right? We have given the opacity 0. So see, it is not visible now, right? So if there is no active class, we don't want to show the links, right? So that's why I've given the opacity 0. Now I want to give some transition over it also. So what transformation I've given? So this is the transformation, right? The rotation of these links. Now I want to apply some transition over it, over this transform. Okay, so I want to apply some transition over this transform of 0.6 second in a linear fashion. Okay, and also on the opacity, because we don't want to so if you see that if I click over it, so if I click on cross button, this link is not immediately gone. So this is going in some transition mode. If you see now, if you see that this link is going in some transition, right? So I want to apply some transition over this opacity also. So similarly, we want to apply some transition over this opacity of 0.6 second in a linear fashion. Okay, so this is what we want. So this CSS is for if there is no active class over the nav. Now I want to apply some CSS over this li if there is an active class. So if there is an active class, then I want to apply the CSS for this li. What I want, if there is active class, I want to show the link, right? I want to show the list. So what I will do, I will make this opacity 1. So now if you see, we have we already have active class. That's why we are able to see this link. So if there is active class, we want to show the links. That's why we have given the opacity 1. And I want to give some transformation. So what I want to rotate, right? So as soon as it's active plus, I want to rotate these links. You see, we are rotating over all these links, right? You see, we are rotating, right? So that's why I've given this rotation of 360 degree. Okay, if you see it, these are rotating. If I refresh this page, if you see, this is rotating. Now, so inside the list we have anchor tag, right? Inside the list we have anchor tag. Now I want to apply the CSS for this anchor tag if there is no active class. So we want to give some margin of 0 and then 10 pixel. If you see, it is rotating, right? So now I want to give some position to be relative so that I can make this actual button as absolute. Okay, and let's give some color to this anchor tag of black color, and let's give some text transfer to none. Okay, we don't want to show any. Okay, now I want to some apply the CSS for this icon. So if you see that we have icon here, right? We have class name icon of the button. So now I want to make this button. Okay, so let's make this icon as an absolute. That's why I have created this anchor tag as an absolute, as a relative. So sorry, I want to create this icon also. This button I want to make it relative so that I can make this two div as an absolute, so that I can place it accordingly. Okay, so let's make it relative. Let's give some background color of white, and let's remove the border to 0, and let's give the cursor pointer, let's give some padding to be 0, and let's give some height to 30 pixel, and let's give some width to 30 pixel. Okay, so we have applied some CSS over this icon. Now we want to apply some CSS over the, so we don't want to show any outline. For that I want to remove this outline to none. Okay, so just save that. Now I want to apply the CSS for this 2 div, right? For this 2 div, this 2 div. So now we have this, inside this icon class we have line class, right? We have line class, so I have to give dot, and we want to make it position because I have make the parent element relative so that I can make this line, these two div as an absolute. Okay, so let's give some height, let's give some height to 2 pixel, and let's give some width to 20 pixel. Okay, let's give some background color of H5290 F9. Okay, that is sky color. And let's say I want to give the position, that's why I have make this this 2 div as an absolute so that I can place it accordingly. So whenever you want, I want, right? So I want to place it from top 10 pixel and from left 5 pixel. Now if you see that one line is coming, so as of now both the line is coming on the same point, so that is why we are not able to see both the point. because we have applied the CSS for this both this div, right? Same CSS for both this div, right? So that's why both the line is coming on the same part. So we will separate it using this class line1 and line2. Okay, so this line1 is the common CSS for both this div. In order to separate this out, we will use this line1 and line2. Okay, and let's give some transition over this also, because if you see in the actual project we have some transition over this button also. This is also rotating, right? This is also rotating, and this is showing cross in if there is active class. It is coming like this, like two dashed line if there is no active class. So we'll make this. So let's give some transition over some transform of 0.6 second in a linear fashion. Okay, now what I want to separate this, right? So I want to separate this line1 and line2. So let's apply for first line2. So let's from top I want auto, and from bottom I want 10 pixel. So this line2, if you see line2 is coming at their position. Okay, now all this is for if there is no active class, right? So if there is active class, we want to show this as a cross, right? So now it is coming as a dash only. We want to make it cross if there is active class. So first we have to check if there is active class over this nav bar, right? Active. So if there is an active class, I want to show it as a cross, right? So for line1, what I want to rotate this, right? In order to show these two lines as a in a cross way, I have to rotate both these lines. So that's what I am doing. If there is active class over the nav bar, I want to rotate this line1, as well as I will also rotate this line2 also. So let's rotate this. So let's make a transform, and let's use the rotate, and let's rotate this by 760 minus 765 degree. Okay, and also let's translate in y direction of 5.5 pixel. Okay, so now if I save it, this is coming somewhat this line is like rotated by 765 degrees and in a negative direction. Okay, and also I have somewhat I have translated into 5.5 pixel in a y direction. Okay, now just copy it, and just paste it, and let's rotate the line2 also. Okay, so let's rotate the line2 in a positive direction. Okay, and let's make this rotation along y-axis in a negative direction. Okay, so if we just save it, so if you see this is coming as a cross, right? As of now, if I click on this, it will not work because as of now I have hard-coded this active class. Okay, as of now I have hard-coded this active class. If I remove this active class will come from JavaScript. So I will start working on this. So I think that is enough for this CSS. So we have written all the CSS. So we have written separately if there is an active class. If there is no active class, we have written it separately. Now we will move to JavaScript. So what we will do in the JavaScript, so if I click on this button, button, so if there is an active class, we will if there is active class, we will remove that active class. If there is no active class, we will add that active class. Okay, so based on the click of that button. Okay, so now what I want to take this toggle, and I want to take this navbar, right? Why? Because I will click on this button and I want to add the active class over the navbar. So these two I need, so that's why I have given the ID for these two, so that I can take it easily in the JavaScript using document get element by ID. Okay, so let's make a variable toggle, and let's use the document dot get element by id, and we have given the toggle class, right? And let's just copy it, and what id have we have given? Nav, right? So we have given the nav. We want to create a variable of nav only. Now what I want to apply some on click event over this button, right? So over this button, this toggle, I want to apply some add event listener. What add event listener we want? We want click. So as soon as the user click on this button, so I want to do some operations. So I will use this callback, and I will use the arrow function. Now what I will check? So I will add the class, right? So what it will do? I will toggle the class. So what it will do? It will take this nav and it will check if there is an active class. So it will remove this active class. So this toggle, what it will do? If there is active class, it will remove this active class from this nav bar, and if there is no active class, it will add the active class in this nav bar. So using this nav dot class list dot toggle, okay, toggle, what it will do? If there is a active class, it will remove it. If there is no active class, it will add it. Okay, now if I go on and save it, and if I remove the active class hard coded here, now if you see at the start, it is not showing any things, right? Now if I click over it, what it will do? It is showing all these links, and this button is coming, right? So as soon as I click over it, what it will do? It will add the active class in the nav bar. Since we have added the active class using the JavaScript in the nav bar, what it will do? It will go on check here. So if there is active class, it will add the width. So if there is an active class, it will increase the this UL width also, right? So if there is an active class, what it will do? It will rotate it by 360-degree, right? So if there is an active class, it will make this button as a cross button, right? So this all we have written. And if there is no active class, now if I click on this cross button, it will remove the active class. So since it is removed the active class, it will show this one, right? It will show normal one. So it will show normal one, right? Normal CSS. This normal CSS, okay? So this is we are having animated navigation, and you can use this animated navigation in your websites or in your bigger project. Okay, so that's all for today's video. So if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and please share this video those who are in it. Thank you for watching.